Hello and welcome to another episode of Autogefuel, today with me AJ and Jonas. Today we have with us the all-new Volvo S60. Is it enough to steer customers away from its well-established rivals like the 3 Series, A4 and the C-Class? Well, with this new design and all the technology that is packed in this car, it just might. So stick around and let's find out. So up front, first of all, the width is something that you will notice. This car is 1.85 meters wide, but instantly recognizable as a Volvo. So things like the Thor hammer, LED daytime running light, and the front grille with the vertical slats make it instantly recognizable as a Volvo. There are some interesting details like chrome accents along the bottom of the bumper, and of course, Volvo logo taking center stage right here in the middle of the grille. This car is 4.76 meters long. In fact, it's 10 centimeters longer in terms of the wheelbase than the predecessor. And what that means is, well, right here, you get a lot more backseat room. And we'll check that out later on once I'm sitting inside. But I think the proportions of this car are really nice compared to its bigger brother, the S90. This has a good mid-size sedan silhouette, which I think really suits this kind of again, professorial design that this Volvo has. It comes as standard with 18-inch wheels like the ones you see here, which I think fill up the wheel arches really well. You can optionally get 19-inch wheels if you would like. So the T8 PHEV, the plug-in hybrid vehicle, has the charging port right behind the front left wheel and the usual petrol filling cap just behind the rear right wheel. Here at the back of the car, I do like how these taillights have this cool crescent C-shaped design. Again, similar to the other Volvo sedans, but here, because of the way the proportions are, it seems a lot more sharper, and I really do like it that way. S60 badging here, Volvo stamped in broad letters on the top of the bumper of the boot lid, and a plethora of badges here on the right side as well. Here we have the key fob, very typical Volvo, nothing new to report, but you have some buttons, for example, to release the tailgate, so it's quite useful. It is keyless entry, so if the car is locked, as it is now, I just have to come up to it, put my hand inside the door handle, the door will unlock, the mirror will extend, and I can open the door. The door opens really nice and wide. The materials are really good, top-notch, very soft and plush on the top. Down here as well, lots of soft touch materials, padded armrest, and even the door pockets are padded, which is fantastic. Even expensive cars have hard plastic here, and this is soft touch, so Volvo interiors are really good. Although, I must mention, if you look inside, everything is just black. And Volvo have some really nice bright colors for the interiors, even the steering wheel with some nice accents and a lot of wood. And I personally would not go for this full black treatment. It kind of makes it really dark and a little bit more hemmed in. Nevertheless, these seats are really comfortable. We'll talk more about them once we get inside. A lot of adjustments, as you can see down here, for lumbar support, extending the base, all kinds of adjustments with memory. So really useful. And lastly, again, on the speakers here you see this has the Bowers and Wilkins, which Volvos have usually, and they are cracking systems. An interesting little detail you'll see is the Swedish flag on the seats, which is kind of interesting because, first of all, yes, Volvo is a Swedish brand, but it's owned by a Chinese company, and this S60 is actually manufactured in the US. But overall, the seats are really interesting, some interesting design, like in the head restraint, nice patterns. There's a lot of different options, so check it out, and again, pick a lighter color to make the cabin feel more spacious. Sitting inside, there is enough headroom, even with this panoramic glass roof, for somebody of my size. I'm 5'8" or 1.7 meters. So the inside of the S60 is very familiar. It's very familiar to, similar to all the other Volvos in the lineup, and that's no bad thing. I think Volvos have some of the best interiors, and it's just, you know, exudes class and comfort. Again, lighter colors would be my preference. You can also change the color of the wood. You can have different kind of maybe piano black plastic. I always like the wood. You have some more chocolate mocha colored woods that you can use, and this nice dash of aluminium along the center of the dash really makes this nice. I also like the large rectangular air conditioning vents with these really cool aviator style kind of fins. Nice knurled finish along the edges to turn off and on the vents, and very easy to operate and control. Of course, what takes center stage is this 9-inch touchscreen, but we'll come to that in a minute. First, Jonas, let's focus on the dashboard and the steering wheel. You can get the optional steering wheel with steering mounted controls. You can even get a sport steering wheel which has 2 spokes here in the bottom. But these don't have paddle shifters, as you can see. I also like the design of these buttons because there's just one kind of jewel element, one piece on either side. You don't have so many different buttons and rollers and touchpads. So very elegant, which I always appreciate with Volvo. A nice circular line in the middle of the steering wheel itself. Let's take a look in the back. Again, with this longer wheelbase that the car has now compared to its predecessor, we have a larger door for the rear, which makes getting car seats into the back that much easier. Although the opening is not, you know, substantially huge, it is large enough, but yeah, of course, not an SUV. The door is also really nice. Materials in the back are as good as the materials in the front. Even down here we have soft touch plastic, and everywhere else is also plush materials. Let's get inside. There's a handle here for me to hold as I make my way inside. Again, you have to watch your head a little bit, but once you're inside, wow, there's plenty of knee room. Again, that longer wheelbase really liberates a lot of space here in the cabin. It's a little bit more like a theater style seating, so the front seats are a little bit lower than the rear seats, so you're sitting a little bit higher than them, and it gives you good visibility outwards. All right, let's take a look inside the boot or the trunk. The tailgate lifts quite smoothly. In fact, you have a key release on the remote. So with the T8, because it's a plug-in hybrid, first off, you can see that there's quite a lot of space that we lose out here in the back. Therefore, the luggage space is about 392 liters. But if you have the T4 or the T5, there's a little bit more room in the bottom, and you get 442 liters. So it is a very rectangular, usable area. Some nice little mesh pockets here to stow away some looser items, a 12-volt power socket. All engines are 2-liter turbo 4-cylinder engines. For the S60, there is no diesel option, just petrol and plug-in hybrid electric. All are coupled with an 8-speed auto. There is the T4 with 190 PS or metric horsepower and front-wheel drive, a T5 with 250 horsepower and front-wheel drive, and a T6 with 310 horsepower and all-wheel drive. This is supercharged and turbocharged. The all-wheel drive is an on-demand coupling-based system. Today, we're driving the T8. The T8 plug-in hybrid has a supercharger along with the turbo. Volvo adds up the 303 horsepower from the combustion engine and the 87 horsepower from the electric motor for a total of 390 horsepower. I'm in Mannheim, really familiar territory for me. Lived here for several years. So let's start off driving in the city to understand how the new S60 fares. First of all, because this is a hybrid, I'm going to go into the driving mode and go into hybrid mode. Now, of course, when you're driving at city speeds, when you're driving slowly, it runs on full electric power. With just the electric power, you can go for up to 58 kilometers, which is pretty good for, just a simple daily city commute to your office. That could even be enough for a full round trip. So that way you can use this car as an electric car on a daily basis to get to work. And of course, if you really put the foot down and you hammer the throttle, then it switches very seamlessly into the petrol mode. Visibility is also not too bad. Yes, it does feel a little bit hemmed in and the windshield is not so large, but I have good visibility out the sides and I have pretty good visibility thanks to this large rear view mirror out the back. You put your foot down and the car just accelerates so easily, so making overtakes on the highway is really a breeze. Plus, let's test out now the pilot assist. So I can activate this with the button on the steering wheel. And now I can set the speed to the limit, which is 120 kilometers per hour. The car is going to maintain a safe distance with the car in front. It's also going to maintain the lane for me and intervene with steering if I'm straying out of the lane. See, now there's a car in front, so this car will automatically start braking and will maintain a safe distance. I can also change the distance that I wanted to maintain with the car in front with the buttons over here. And of course, when I want to change lanes, it will deactivate the steering intervention. The noise is a little bit more now on the highway. You can hear a little bit more of the tire noise. But on the whole, I think this car is a very quiet cabin to be in. Especially the engine, even when the engine is running and you're not driving in just the electric mode, the engine is not that loud. We'll test it once we put it in dynamic mode and really put my foot down on the twisty roads, because I know these 2-liter engines that Volvo makes, and yes, they're very sophisticated. Some of them have even won awards, but they've never really felt that smooth. They don't have that buttery smooth feeling. They're always a little bit coarse and a little bit gruff. So we'll see if this engine is the same or if it's better in some way. So it's very easy for me to change the speeds now that I'm getting into some contraflow. Let's test how this steering assist recognizes the difference between white and yellow lanes. Nope, I didn't really grab that. I had to intervene on my own. So the pilot assist is something that you can just use as a backup. You should never rely on it completely. Of course, it's not designed to be, an autonomous vehicle. It's just there as a backup, as an assistance. The electric motor is just there to fill in the gaps, to keep me accelerating, really to help aid the acceleration. And now the engine is going to be in the forefront. So let's put our foot down. Wow! Instantly, that 303 horsepower, I can feel that nice shove. This has all-wheel drive, so I could feel that there's a little bit of wheel spin in the back, but on the whole, it was really had really good traction off the line. That electric motor, in this case, in this mode, is used to provide that extra punch and fill in the gaps in the torque. Around this hairpin, body roll is not terrible. It's a little bit more noticeable. I do wish I had paddle shifters. I don't really want to use this. It looks really fancy and glamorous, maybe not to everybody's taste, this crystal gear shift lever. and it definitely does not feel fun to use if you want to, use it as a manual mode. So I would much rather just let it do its own thing. Wow, definitely. In terms of power, you're definitely not going to feel lacking. Body control is not too bad. Could have been a little bit better, but then again, this car weighs over 2,000 kilograms thanks to it being a hybrid. Whoa, that all-wheel drive means that the rear does kind of become a little bit more lively, which is really great to see. Visibility is pretty good. The A-pillar does not really obstruct your view too much. Since this car is fairly compact, it's also nice to drive on narrower streets. You don't feel scared. It doesn't frighten you that you're going to hit something on the side. So that way it's just the right size. The steering is also a lot heavier now. Gives pretty good feedback. Actually, wow, this four-wheel drive system really allows the car to rotate. Now that I'm kind of pushing it a little bit, I can feel the rear kind of trying to overtake the front. So there is that torque vectoring effect to slow down the inside front wheel and to speed up the outside rear wheel. And that gives this nice pointing and turning kind of rotation, which I was not really expecting. The steering feel is okay. It just feels heavier. It doesn't really give me too much feedback. Again, this is probably not going to, it's not going to be more sportier than a 3 Series. But that being said, it definitely can hold its own. On this downhill turn, yeah, the weight, you do feel that a little bit. You feel that kind of pushing you into a little bit of an understeer because of that weight and front wheel bias. But for just a nice, fun little blast through the hills. This is the road that I drive down quite often because it's really right behind my house. I know these roads well, so I feel much more confident in taking these at a little bit of a higher speed. And I see that, yes, there's a little bit of understeer, but it's not so bad. And that electric motor providing extra thrust is definitely very useful. The engine, I can't hear it at all, which is kind of good in a way. This is not the Polestar engineered version and definitely not the actual out-and-out Polestar version of this car. Hopefully we'll see one sometime in the future. So that being said, it's not a very loud, sonorous, sporty sounding engine. It gets the job done. Most certainly, there is very little turbo lag. Now we're in the city again. If I switch to hybrid everyday use, automatically I'm going into my electric mode. I can see on my dials how much battery power is left. I can also see up to what RPM I can use just battery powered electric drive versus where the petrol engine will start to kick in. And when it does kick in, it's a very seamless transition. You barely notice it starting up. So I think this kind of a combination is really nice. But let's get back into power mode since we're heading out of this little village. I miss having paddle shifters. Again, this is not going to replace your 3 Series M Sport line or your S line in your A4. So definitely this isn't, especially in this inscription trim, that power is nice to have, but the other things that need to be there to have that sporty driving is not there. Perhaps in the R design it will be a little bit better, but here in the inscription not so much. But definitely 303 horsepower, electric boost. Performance wise, it's definitely good for a compact, or rather mid-size executive luxury sedan. Let's summarize today's episode of the all-new Volvo S60 with prices starting at around 43,200 euros for the base R design with no options. It does seem pretty interesting and a good value proposition, but the test car that we have here in the inscription trim with all the optional extras is easily over 74,000 euros. So the question we had in the beginning of the video, is this enough to steer customers away from its well-established German rivals like the 3 Series, C-Class and A4? For that price, it's hard to say it could because it's not undercutting its competition in any way. But at the same time, it doesn't have to because it has its own really good value proposition. It's a very luxurious car, full of technology, looks really grand, is very comfortable. And with this T8 engine variant, you have 303 horsepower and a plug-in hybrid. So that means in the city at slow speeds, you can run fully on electric power, being kinder to the environment and also not making a dent in your pocket. But when you want to have that fun, when you want that overtaking power, switch it to the electric mode into the petrol mode, and then you really feel that punch. Yes, it's not sporty. If you want a sporty sedan, you're better off with a 3 Series or a Jaguar XE, but this still can hold its own with those kind of cars as well. Coupled with its all-wheel drive system, there's plenty of traction in the snow, in the dirt, so you can have that confidence as well. And the truth is, you don't have to buy this car outright and pay 74,000 euros for this. Volvo in most markets has a subscription-based leasing model, so you just pay a monthly fee and you can have the car. So in that way, why not? It seems like a pretty interesting proposition, but is it enough for you guys to choose this over its German rivals? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. I also want to give a shout out to the University of Mannheim for letting me film on the campus. It was great to be back. And as always, Jonas and I are signing off. We'll see you guys next time.